Okay, now it's recording.
Okay, give it a second. Let's see. Because we can always repause it again.
Right.
I don't know if mine comes up different than your guys's. Oh, now it says record.
Now,
Yeah, I see recording up there.
yeah, my cell phone is saying it's loading that Facebook communications meeting. It's not going anywhere. I think it might just be too slow. It just may not be able to do it.
Yeah, it's possible.
If I, maybe if I were, which I could, but anyway. So Tiffany, if you want to work on this a little more tomorrow, however, we can, you know,
Yes.
try a couple different things and see.
See which one it works to. Because the way I understand it, we just have to make sure that we have it to where residents can view it, residents
Right.
can, it's accessible. So
Yeah.
that's the
As
main
long as
thing
it's
that,
recorded somewhere, is it?
well, this is going to be recorded and we're going to be able to post this. This isn't going to be like she will,
Right.
because the buttons I saw, this can actually be recorded. But I think the main thing is that it's technically still a live public meeting. So residents can technically ask questions and do different things when you're on Facebook. When I'm like, if she's got this streaming to Facebook, they can make comments and I can be scrolling through Facebook at the same time. Not that we don't have to do,
But these type meetings don't
these
have
ones don't, but we're
audience
talking about for Monday.
participation.
Well,
We're
even
talking
Yeah.
about the one for Monday.
I could be incorrect, but you don't have to make
No,
comments available, correct?
you
Not
do
for a
not. No,
committee
we
meeting.
absolutely do
No,
not.
I mean, even for full council meetings, you don't have
Correct.
to let people talk, right?
No, we can change the agenda and just not do questions and different things like that. We do not have to, I mean, just for these purposes. I mean, again, if people want to respond, I mean, I have no problem responding. And I think you guys know that. If they've got
Mhm.
questions after the meeting, they're
Yeah.
more than welcome to email me.
Then don't get me wrong, I want everyone to see my awesome OSU mantle, but you know, if they can't, they can't.
Right. So yeah, I think just as long as we post it at the end, I mean, again, this isn't going to be a long-term thing. I think this is going to be I'm hopeful that by May we're in real time again.
And the other thing we can do, just because we don't need to see all the audience's faces, if they are in there, we can only give them the phone number.
Is there a limit to how many we can have?
100.
And you can just mute them?
Yeah, well, yeah, you can actually program it that they can only listen if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of, like, right now, Zoom got dinged for not having enough security. Probably heard this in the news. And so but I've gotten 2 updates so far in the last week.
Wow.
And they were really lax before because, you know, nobody cared. So it was mostly just businesses using it, but you didn't have to use a password. And now they're making you use a password. And you can keep the same meeting ID, you know, your own personal meeting ID for the village. It can just be static. But what happened is, as soon as other people find out about your meeting ID that that it never changes and there's no password, people were just, because they'd seen an email invite from somebody else, they were just popping in to other people's meetings. just to be nasty and stupid, right? Just to disrupt the meeting. So yeah, so now they put more security in there, and you can randomly assign a meeting ID, or you can keep a personal one. So just you know, we just want to be careful not to get too used to we shouldn't probably use a standard meeting ID except among maybe the village and, you know, the management, so to speak. But just be careful of that, because that's been a complaint. But they made a couple of really good updates. The other thing is right, I was trying out to manage the participants. And so in manage the participants, it dings when you come in, and then I go to a separate screen and I invite you in. So you're in right now, and this can be turned on or off by meeting, but participant goes into a waiting room until the host clicks them in.
Okay.
So that's another way to make sure that you want the person in the meeting that's jumped in.
Okay.
The other
Seems
thing
easy.
is-
Seems
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. The other thing is it does have polling, and I wanted to try that, if you don't mind launching polling for a minute.
I like polling. Yes, I do. Now, from what I'm hearing, does this mean Diane's going to be the host for all of these? Or different committee chairs going to be
Right.
expected to host their own things? Or are we just putting Diane in charge of hosting Zoom meetings?
No. So here was my initial thought. You guys can all argue this and you can actually ask her or whatever you want to do. Here's the reason I did. First off, she's not the lead of communications. If she wants to do it, it's out of the goodness of her heart.
Gotcha,
I
of
don't want to
course.
be in control of it any more than well, maybe some people do, but I have no interest in it. I do not want people to have to. The way I view this is kind of like the calendar. We used to have to like fight tooth and nail to get Lynn to let people use the calendar, to tell us what days are available.
Mhm.
I don't want you guys to have to track me down. There is like everybody, I have no problem giving everybody access to being able to go in and setting up their own meetings. You guys can do as much as you want or as little. You obviously can't have 2 meetings going on at the same time. If Diane wants to be in control of them or communications wants to be in control of all of the meetings, that's on you guys. I just know personally, I did not want to. Okay, who said no?
No,
Tony.
wasn't me.
You can never trust the polls. You can never trust them.
You
And
knew it.
if somebody doesn't say no, then you don't know that no works, right? This was a test. You have to test both the
There you
positive
go. But we
and
all
the
knew who
negative.
it was.
It's a test.
Well, that's-
Okay.
I was just kind of, it was kind of interesting because I thought maybe we could use it as a recorded, if we have legislation we're voting on, that we could use these, we
Yeah.
could put the polls in advance for each piece of legislation that we're voting on. And
Right.
it would just be part of the record then.
Does it record how each person voted?
Does
It
that look
just-
like
it-
to be?
well, I didn't know till now, but no, I didn't know who said no. I got the same feedback you got. So,
Yeah, so it can be part of the recording just to know that it happened, but any legislative voting has to have a voice vote and it's, roll call. So,
oh, of course, yeah.
yeah, so it works for a motion, but
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. But yeah. Okay. So
Anyway,
back to Mark. Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's, the polling's there. So anyway.
Whoever wants to do it can do it. So that's up to you guys. That's where I'm going to say I'm not part of communication committee. So it's up to them whether or not they want to give everybody access to do their own meetings. If anybody wants to do their own meetings, if somebody wants to take charge of it, I don't care what you guys do. I just don't want to be in control of it.
So the thing that I could, there's 3 people right now. It's myself, Becky, and Leah. And I'm sorry, yeah. And so we're using there's only one user, that's the paid user, and that's conference@Minerva Park.
Right.
Or it's
That's why it's
users
word,
are,
okay.
that's what it is. So what I or one of the other 2 people could do is you're allowed to have someone else host for you. So it can be set up by one person, and then they can apply an email address to the other person who is going to be host on their behalf. And then that person could, if this is a committee meeting, that person could then, if the committee chair wanted to host the meeting, then they could, but then someone else is setting it up. Because, I am sure that we're kind of, stretching it a little bit by having one user and 3 different people. So I don't know if, I think one person gets bounced out if another person's in there. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But anyway, it's just a thought, just to keep it so it's not totally crazy. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is that I was trying to talk to Tiffany about this, wasn't getting too far. So what I did was, just to see how, just to remind myself, refresh on how Zoom works, is I added an Outlook add-on. And so that means that when I want to schedule a Zoom meeting, I'm right in my Outlook. I have an Outlook though, not the Minerva Park Outlook, because we have the web version of Outlook. So it grabbed it and put it in my personal Outlook. So that I've got two shortcuts to Zooming. And so when I schedule a meeting, it pops me right into my email, copied all of the information, and I just do my, users, and I'm done. When you're in the conference, then what I was saying is that at least I do not have permission to do an outbound email in conference at minervapark.org.
It doesn't have them, and I don't know why. So we're trying to find out from.
Yeah. So since I can't do that, it's a bunch of. I would prefer. The only reason I prefer that is because when people reply and say yes, I'm coming, it's replying to one of my personal emails, and so it's not in the record. And if someone else wanted to look to see who responded and who replied that they were coming, they couldn't because it's in my personal account. It should be in conference. It should be.
So here's the weird thing. Okay, so what is Matt doing differently? Because Matt he went on conference at Minerva Park. He scheduled a meeting. It came up with his Minerva Park email that he scheduled it and sent it to me and Leah in like 1 second from the conference one. What did he do different?
I am sure it's because he is an employee. And so you guys have Outlook.
No, the conference doesn't. You're right. The conference does not send out. I can't send out emails from that either.
Well, why don't we work on that tomorrow so we can.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. That's weird. Okay, yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Because I don't know what he's doing to where he's able to do it like that.
You're talking about Chief Delp? And,
yes.
He may have other privileges as police chief.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay.
Yeah.
Because once you explained it, I knew what you were talking about.
Diane, the Outlook that you're using, is it your desktop Outlook? Is that what you're saying it's hooked into? That's where you have the plugin going to?
Right.
Do you have your desktop, well, hold on. Do you have your desktop Outlook set up to pull your village email? Because you can do that too.
Well, I used to be able to do that. I had it that way for a year and a half, and then it blew up. And the tech guy who helped me, and it was challenging, but he got it to work. I think because I've got 3 different emails in different places. But anyway, I decided to go back to tech support, the village tech support, Adam, and his email. And I asked Adam if he could put it back for me, and he said, "Oh, it's not supposed to do that. You're not allowed to have that." And so he refused to help me.
All right. Well, maybe once we're allowed in other people's houses again, I can help you with that because it shouldn't be difficult at all.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if you had your Outlook pulling your village email, then it would just be a matter of switching the outgoing account when you send that email.
I'm sure you're right.
And I do that.
I'm sure you're right. And that, yes, I could. Yes, absolutely. I agree.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but that's what's going on. Well, no, never mind. There was another thought gurgling in there, but I let it go.
Okay, so for Saturday, did you invite, did you invite Gene Hollins?
No, just if you tell me how you want me to.
We'll do it tomorrow. Yeah. I'll send you an email just to and if they don't want to do it or if they're busy, that's fine. But I would say same thing with Leah and Kim. They wanted an invite, whether or not they could go in or out or whatever. They want to make sure that they can be in or out.
All right.
And Jean and Eric. I think those are the only ones.
Okay.
I think that's it. And that would be the same for Monday.
All righty. I will get the ones I missed, and in the future we'll just put them in a CC or on the.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that would be, again, I think this, hopefully this is only a couple more weeks. Sorry, I'm optimistic.
No, I prefer not to come in for council meetings. This is better. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that-
this to me is a great option. Again, you remember last year when I was on vacation, and it would have been nice to be able to do this. I mean, I may not be able to vote, or you may not be able to, you know, if you're just, but at least you're able to participate. So to me, I think it's a great option.
Well, not only that is, now you know that this is going to be a good recording. It just, it because we're out, we can all hear, if we can all hear each other, it's being recorded well. And so we've also got it's a little added bonus, I guess.
Also, I the way I saw it, it does record. So when we get done, one of the first things to do is send it to Becky, so she can do the minute. Or I don't think she does the minutes for these, but she keeps them.
I don't need to send it to her because it's going to be in the cloud. I asked it to go to the cloud.
Okay, cool.
And so she's got the same conference account I do.
Perfect. Okay.
She'll be able to
So it's
go
in there.
and- If she goes into Zoom, it'll say there's a in the administrator one. It says look at your recording. It also, when the recording is available, because it takes a little while for it to upload and store it, it'll send conference at Minerva Park. It'll send an email saying your recording is ready
Okay.
for review. So yeah, I won't have to send. She just goes in there and looks for it. I shouldn't have to get involved.
Okay. Should we verify whether or not Joe just can't do this, or he just opted not to, or
Just,
for Monday?
Yeah, I saw he just sent something. Hold on, the text. What is the meeting ID? This won't let me in. Okay, let me just text him the meeting ID.
Okay, while you're doing that, the next thing, the only reason I was asking about Joe is if he gets in here, he's been trying to communicate with me. He wants to do something in the newsletter in which I sent everybody an email. I hope I actually sent it. I remember writing it. I don't know if I sent it.
I don't think
If you guys
sent
can,
it. No.
huh?
I don't think you said, I don't remember anything about the newsletter.
Okay, then I didn't press send. Okay, if anybody
I
has
got-
anything for the newsletter, send it to Becky by end of tomorrow,
Yes.
so we can get that out. Obviously there's going to be some COVID-19 stuff in there, not anything crazy, because I feel like we've all heard it 1,000 times from Franklin County and everywhere else. So there are a couple things in there, a couple updates, but if anybody has anything extra, feel free to get it to her. Joe was wanting to do something like a self-addressed stamped envelope type thing, to where if you have residents that are elderly that may need some assistance to fill out this form and mail it back, or he didn't really say self-addressed, but you guys kind of know where I'm going with this. By the time I get this out, by the time it goes to the printer, we get it out, this is probably going to be partially over. His concern is obviously the elderly people with the COVID-19, whether or not they can get out to the grocery stores and different things. I know we've posted things on Facebook. We've done the best we can at this point, short of going door to door, which you can't do right now, clearly. So it is what it is. I don't want to sound like that, but at this point, the communication is what we have. So, but he was wanting to do something additional for something in the newsletter, and I'm just being real. I think the amount of money that it would cost to do it, if we did a postage paid type thing.
All we need to do,
What's that?
put something in the newsletter.
Well, I mean,
It
we can
gets
just
mailed to
put something
everybody's
again if
house.
you need assistance, but I mean, just
Mhm.
doing something that people could fill out and send back, I just think is a bit.
Well, the follow-up question is, what assistance are we really offering?
Well, and I think that's the
Because
other
if
part.
you say, hey, if you need help, let us know.
Correct.
But
Electric
we
bill,
don't
gas
really,
bill.
and we don't really have a plan to provide assistance, then that's just a silly tease, right? Like,
Yeah, we're not.
Are we-
Neighborhood bridges.
are we
Good tip.
really going to go grocery shopping for someone? Is that something the village is really going to take on?
I did
Is the
yesterday,
village-
but and I know we're live streaming, so I'm going to say this. So there's been a lot of people that have put that they want to help and this and that, and I appreciate that. Somebody posted something yesterday, and I ended up going and doing it. So which I'm totally grateful, that they asked. I'm glad that somebody did ask, but yes, like you said, it was one of those things that, we have 2,000 people, and I left it on there for about 2 hours to see if anybody offered to go do anything. I posted it because a lot of people have reached out to me saying, I want to help, I want to help, I want to help. The first person that asked for help, I was the one that ended up going and doing it after a couple hours, which I will do again.
And I didn't see that one, but I think just if you put something in a newsletter, it might be better just to have them call.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. And I think that's going to be the best thing. I think putting something like that out there, with just the phone number. And again, they can reach out to me. I mean, if they want to reach out to me personally, they want to call, they want to reach out to me, and then I can direct them somewhere.
Well, we have the person in the park on Facebook who does this for a living. And I think she's already volunteered that she would, if people would reach out. Now, the people who are going to most likely reach out are not on Facebook. So
correct. And that was my point.
But if we ask her, all we need to do is ask her if she would, if someone calls in, whoever it is, Becky or Leah, whoever gets the phone, writes down the person's contact information and what the need is. But before you do that, of course, contact this person, contact the person who volunteered, who has a social work background, and just say, hey, would you be willing to try to channel these? Because we don't necessarily have to do everything. We can have the right phone number to refer to. And this person would, because that's what they do for a living. So I think we should do that.
Okay.
But of course, get permission from that person first, and then make sure that Becky and Leah know what to write down when a person calls in.
Okay.
And then I think we should do it.
So the part about that I'm worried about, and of course, this is already a thing. It's called neighborhood bridges.
Yes.
It's in Westerville. It's actually spread out. I was talking to someone in Worthington who was like, oh, neighborhood bridges. I'm like, yeah, I work in Westerville. It started here. And that's a big operation. I think what Brian was alluding to earlier, if we as the village government say, reach out with your needs, we're then obligating, if you reach out with our needs, we'll do it.
Right.
No, I think that's the way it's all about how it's worded. You're not going to word it saying we're going to fix everything that's wrong in your life right now. We're not saying that.
But
Then I would just make sure that the language is careful enough about that. And
I would
maybe
agree.
something additional about just, hey, check on your neighbors, help them out. I mean,
I had that. I already have that information. That's kind of where I left it, just to be honest. That's what I put in there, check on your neighbors.
I have 90-year-olds living next door. I brought them a few meals, although they still go out and go grocery shopping because they're not going to be stopped. And one day I was coming home from my walk and I carried their groceries in, and the neighbor on the other side mows their lawn every summer. And we're a small enough, tight enough knit community. I would hope there aren't many people living in a house alone and no one within 6 houses knows them and no one is checking in.
Yeah, I think there probably are some people, just based on putting those mailers on mailboxes. There are some people that I worried about when I was clearly their mailbox was overflowing, and I didn't know if they were snowbirds or if there was a problem. So I know the mail, I was kind of counting on the mailman to be able to take that on, because they usually do. But
just so you know, I talked to him about that, and yes, he does pay attention.
Yeah. So I think we've got great neighbors and all that, but that's not to say we don't have some introvert, hoarder, somebody who just doesn't like people. And you would hate to have, I mean, you can't always avoid it, but you hate to have a situation where someone might actually pass away in their house and nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
It happens. Right. And it's just another way to reach out. That's all.
Perfect.
I know we've got great neighbors and they do a lot. I think a lot of us help out a lot and try to pay attention. We do.
Okay. Well, the main part to that is I'll put something in there. I'll make sure it's worded correctly. but I'm not doing anything to like fill out, send back, do all that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that
that's
would
way
be-
too much.
I agree. I just wanted to make sure.
I had given Joe the meeting ID and password and a text, because he texted me and asked, but I haven't gotten any reply back.
He's probably trying to get on Skype or something.
He told me he downloaded Zoom, and he usually knows what he's doing there. I mean, that it was Zoom, but the thing is that the invite, I have already told him 3 times that the invite has Skype on it. There's a Skype link at the bottom. So
Well,
if you
and-
have Skype and you want to use Skype, you can use Skype. But I don't
Right.
think he actually has Skype. I just think it was a thought.
Or you just have to copy and paste the URL from the original invitation into your browser and it takes you right there.
Mhm.
That's all I did.
We went through that too. I'm not sure he knows what a browser is, though. That's my problem.
And
All right.
and I was concerned about Tony.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. It's my son's got me
Right
off
here.
on this right now. I don't even know where the volume's at.
Is there a little X and is there a little tape X on your chair for where you need to sit?
Yeah, it's like on Jeopardy or a Wheel of Fortune.
Sit here, Dad.
And
Oh,
then
that's hilarious.
everybody sees at the bottom where you can share screen.
Yep.
Mhm.
No,
that would
I'm past.
There you go.
So are we going to do any kind of community or communications committee meeting here? Are we,
Well, we were hoping that the communications committee chair,
well,
to
we
show
gotta
up.
give up on that.
Okay, yeah, I think we gave up on that.
I mean, so the first item would be the website. It seems like they have started doing what they're doing. they-
The only thing we have done is we have a packet that has to be filled out in 2 weeks. So, and I've not even seen it yet. So that
Okay.
was supposed to be sent out, and I've requested for pictures. So anybody that has pictures, that's going to be one of the other things that comes in on it. But we have not gotten to
If you're
anything
gonna-
past.
Yeah. If you're going to ask for pictures, you need to be more specific. And hopefully it's in the packet, what size, et cetera, et cetera.
All she said is high resolution at this point. There's no actual, she did not give size. Yes.
On the current village website, the picture that just won't go away with the snow.
Yes.
Okay. Is that because it's a wide angle and you don't have a replacement, or is that just too hard to change?
On the website,
Yeah.
we've thrown our hands in the air on that website.
Anyway,
I'm
real
just being
quick,
honest.
everyone, you're getting into the business of the meeting, and I'm not on this committee. I think we got all the technology stuff we're going to do today done. So I'm going to hop off here, and you guys have a great
Bye.
bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Let's see.
Okay. So as far as that goes, there is a packet. Completion date, they're hoping will be sometime in July for the website to be completely done. There's a chance it can be done sooner if we get this packet together and answer the questions and all of that. So once I get the packet, once she gives us all that information, I'll forward it so everybody can see it, so we know where we're at, where we're going, what we're doing, what we're not doing, what we want on there, what we don't want on there. Right now, she just kind of asked about what the current website has and what we're expecting. We haven't done anything. We've just gotten a packet, and we don't even have the packet yet. So we're getting the packet. So that's where we are.
Okay. What were other communications committee ongoing tasks? I think the technology audit was part of the responsibilities for the communications committee. And I know something happened before, but I don't know what the results were.
Did we ever get a report back from the PEP guy?
I don't think we have, to be completely honest. I think this is right about the time everything started. I think it was like the week or two before that, wasn't it? I'm actually going to send an email. So I have a feeling we do not, but let's hang on. And let me make sure. I get a bazillion emails a day. I'm going to go with no. So I'm going to send Leah a message right now to see if she knows. What was it called? What was the audit called?
PEP. P as in Paul. PEP.
Got it. PEP audit. Got it. I'll let you guys know. I'll forward it as soon as I get it.
And whatever happened with the comm resource fellow?
Last I heard, that guy was completely wrong. We still have another year on our contract. Simple as that. That's the last I heard.
On which contract?
The so they reached out to us and said that our contract was up. We found the contract. We have another year of the contract, so we can't switch until we're done. That was my understanding.
Yeah, there's two parts to it, and I think that I was concerned that this was confusing.
I'm trying to pull up that email.
He came in on I'm trying to think of why. Let's see. He came in, and there's two parts to the contract, and they own one part of it.
Yes.
And I was interested in the phone system, which is why I showed up. And there's the physical phones are already bought, and this had to do with this is the telecom part. The telecom part is what I thought was up, not the comm resource part.
I'm trying to find. Janetta sent an email. Oh my gosh, do I have a lot of emails?
We talking about the contract for the telephones?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the physical phones themselves have been paid for, so they're some cost. But the actual telecom, in other words, who manages our phone system, like AT&T. I mean, we have a company that does that, is the DID and all that, provides all that phone connection, bills us for long distance calls and things like that. And then there's Comm Resource. So this other vendor was the subcontractor for Comm Resource, the telecom vendor. And Comm Resource does the network part of it. The cloud, the network part of the voicemail going to email, that system app that's associated with the physical phones that makes the thing work. That's Comm Resource. And so that was the confusing part. And Comm Resource was now has the ability to handle the whole contract on their own without subcontracting to this other group. And it was the other group's contract that was supposedly up. Like it's already finished and we're going month to month. That was the implication.
Yeah, it has something to do with Fusion. Comm Resource and Fusion.
Fusion was the subcontractor, yeah. Anyway, so that's just another part of the technology piece.
And we need this is this because of the police that we need this system, or
No, these are
that's what I'm not understanding. What
these are the phone. Well, the police have phones too. So part of it is police, but not all of it. When people call in the main number, that phone number, the 614 number that goes to Becky and then is rotated around the office and then goes to email. When you press 1 for this, press 2 for that. Did you ever call in, Tony? Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay, I went ahead and sent Leah a message because she was part of this one as well.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to go back and I'm going to say something that's, all of this information we got was from Janetta that basically said that we couldn't switch it because of the contract and da-da-da-da-da. So I'm having Leah actually re-pull it and find out where we are and make sure that we're still in a contract and we should not be switching everything.
So, your forehead is just, we'd like to see the rest of you.
I know. No, I put it down because I'm on my emails. I was sending an email. Okay, there we go. So I have sent her, so you guys, she'll respond to me tomorrow. So as soon as I get the email about Fusion, because here's the emails back and forth. I mean, I'm reading the emails back and forth and they're not going to help you because all it talks about is her basically saying that she's trying to get the PO ready and da-da-da-da-da. And then that's when she came out and told us that we still had another year on the contract. But now that you're saying that, I'm wondering if we have a contract with the other, not with.
Well, that is, she came in at the end of the conversation because
Correct.
I wanted to see a bill.
Right.
And she came in at the end.
Yes.
And so we were trying to explain the two companies. And I think that
maybe she's confused.
Wasn't plugged in. She just wasn't, she thought she was, but she wasn't.
So now I'm starting to wonder if she was completely wrong and the information that I have is completely wrong now that you're saying that. I'm wondering if we should be moving forward. And the last email that I got from the lady was on the 30th of March asking why that we haven't sent the PO yet.
Right.
Which was right after she had left.
This is discouraging.
Oh yeah, no. It's
we need to really, there needs to be that we don't have to, Leah or Kim or Yi or anybody. It's just, there should be a place where these contracts are kept with, and there needs to be a spreadsheet or something that says, here's the contract, here's the effective date, does it auto renewal, yes or no, blah, blah.
Well, I think this goes to the conversation that the mayor and I have had about the breakers, the way they're kept. And I, started bringing up that we need to do something about that, come up with a system. There isn't a system.
No, there's
system.
not, because I can tell you that I signed the contract for Aqueduct thinking, because it was part of our renewals at the end of the year, it was on there. It was never done. I just did it a couple weeks ago. And again, it wasn't done. I got something to sign for public health, whatever, that Lynn did sign, but because she signed it at the end of the year, they wanted me to sign it. But I signed it and they're all just sitting on my desk because I have nowhere to put them. Like what do I do with them now? So anybody would have access to it if they were going to look for it, instead of going through a file in a file cabinet that I refuse to open because it's a train wreck in there.
But
so I'm telling you.
Yeah, they should be scanned. The contracts anyway. It's the very least, the contracts should be scanned. They should go to the cloud. And Adam, I'm sure, can set up. I know you guys have a G drive, a B drive, or whatever, Alpha Soup.
We have a common drive that all of our all of the legislation is and all of the meetings. But that's getting to the point that if I'm trying to find something, there's people have gone in there and created files that have never should have been created, and now it's jumbled up. Somebody's going to have to go through there and delete a lot of the stuff.
Well, and that happens often, but you can have more than one common drive.
Well, I have my own personal, and then there's the common drive. Well, we all have our own personal, and then there's
but I think there can be another common drive.
We can, if we want. The other difficult issue that we're having right now is getting Adam and Joe, and I don't know when the last time you talked to them was, but getting them to communicate with us.
Yeah, they must be dying.
Well, this was going on way before.
Busy. Oh, well, okay. So,
yeah.
But yeah, they should be able to create, another common drive. You could call it, 2020, whatever. Just everything else that's older than 2020, go look someplace else.
Right.
But I wouldn't keep stuffing the same crap. Right
now they're all in mine. Because you have to understand, when I sign them, I scan it in. I scan every single thing in, and then I have it labeled in mine, like the UTV where we purchased that. Like that is just sitting on my drive because I emailed it to him from there. That's how we do everything. So when I do the MKSK, which is going to be done tomorrow, I'm going to scan that in, and I'm going to write MKSK signed right next to it. And then it's just going to sit on the Tiffany Hughes one, because that's where I'm going to send it. And it's not going to go anywhere from there because I don't have a specific place to put all of these different things. And there's never been anything like that. I mean, I find random things in that common drive constantly, like some of the most random things, and we'll just go with that. And I think a lot of it was because Lynn would do it. Lynn would send it to Becky, and then Becky would put it somewhere. Or
well, I know, and this stuff happens. I mean, this,
yes.
you know, is not the only organization, that small organization in particular, that has trouble with this sort of thing. It's not unusual, but let's get a grip. I mean,
Yeah.
and maybe Muni Code has a document management portion. Now, of course, now is not the right time since we're talking about July to get the website up. But at some point, if we got stuff together in one place, that could then be moved at some point. It's something to look at. But at least, you know, if you put in a ticket and ask for another shared drive. And who are you sharing it with? So you just say, I want another shared drive, and I want these people to have access to it. And it's open a ticket, do it.
Well, the issue you're going to have is nobody's going to be able to get access to it except for the village people that are in there on the server.
Well, that's the way it is right now. Hopefully that.
Right. I guess my
at
point is
some
I don't
point,
really
I
need to
mean,
create another one.
At least you've got, well, I can't imagine why you'd want to keep using the hot mess you have. But I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's some of it's fine, but most of it's not. I mean, most of it's not. There's so much stuff in there that most of it's not. There's like 4 different letterheads and 4 different places. I can
make other cruder suggestions, like you know, put all your contracts on an external drive. Go buy an external drive for now, and go put all your contracts and your important documents on the external drive. And that way, anybody can authorized can plug in and look something up.
See, that's what I guess I would like is, instead of you guys coming to me, it would be nice if you guys had access to stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to sound dumb, but it would be nice for you guys to be able to.
Well, you know, yeah, eventually we should be in the cloud, but we're not getting there anytime soon. It doesn't appear to be. So until the village can operate out of the cloud instead of having a server.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Instead of that, I mean, if we can, you know, until we can get there, then in the meantime, an interim solution that's kind of hack is go buy an external drive and start.
How much is it?
A couple hundred.
Yeah, not even. You could get a external drive, I'm sure, for pretty cheap. Hold on, USB drive. I mean, hell, you can get thumb drives with
gigs and gigs.
You know, yeah, 100 gigs for not a whole lot here. There's Best Buy. There, but that's not what we want. We don't want thumb drives. We want external hard drive.
A little more sturdy.
A little sturdier. But here's 14 terabytes for $280. 14
Okay.
terabytes is way more than we'd ever need.
Okay.
Here's 1 terabyte for $20. Now, I mean, if you're looking to make it something that people could actually access from outside, you could get, instead of just an external hard drive, get something that's more like a network attached storage device. And then that would just need, a handful of permissions set and a port forwarded through the firewall, and then anybody with the right credentials could connect to it and map it as a drive.
Yeah, the only thing there was we haven't got the report from PEP yet, but
Right.
we were asking a lot of questions about that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I all I'm saying is that it's technically capable. I have a network attached storage device here, and I have the port forwarded so that wherever I am, I can get in it. But and so I know it can happen, but
Yes.
there's a lot of layers in there that I don't control.
Yeah, I would love to have something like that. I mean, it's
And the other thing is I can check with I could check with a vendor or two in town that I know we're using this one vendor right now for our IT services, but it is possible that we could use a different contractor for cloud storage specifically and work around our server with, I mean, it's something, it's something to think about.
Does anybody know how much longer is on our contract with KGT? Because we could shop that around too.
Well, it's generally their contract is a year, and we really should be pushing along if we intend to do something by next year, and then maybe even that's not practical. I mean, I don't know what's practical anymore with things as they are, but it would be nice to flip, and KGT seemed to think that, they would like to also bid on something like that. So if we've moved off the server, at least for the village, maybe not the police, but I think the police can now too. There's products out there now for the police. People are getting used to it.
So 4 years ago, when me and Russ Dobbins tried to not buy the server that's in there and tried to push us to the cloud, and we had a big meeting, and Gene brought in someone from their firm who specialized in IT matters, and they said that at that time, the Secretary of State did not allow for village stuff to be in the cloud in that way. So we should double check that, but
Yeah,
I would be
Yeah.
100% in favor of moving that way.
I would be too.
I agree, we should probably also check with the Secretary of State, but I have noticed that in the last year, about year and a half, more municipalities have been, because of Microsoft Azure in particular, more municipalities as police departments are going to cloud-based solutions. So I believe you were right. 4 years ago, it would have been a no, but I believe today that yes, we should get permission, but I believe today we could look at one.
Can you write that down and have Gene look at it on Saturday?
On Saturday?
I mean, I can email him, or I can email him right now to have him look into it. I have no problem doing that.
I'll write it down.
But yeah, he should be in our meeting on Saturday. So that's something that we could just at least ask him if he can research.
Mr. I don't like change. Okay.
Yes. He doesn't have to use it.
That's for sure.
So, no.
He doesn't need to use it. He just needs to tell us it's legal.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I pass. But anyway, in the interim, the drives are cheap enough, in my opinion. The external drives, if you get one, then it can be locked up at night. It can be handed over to someone else to plug in and find a contract. I would just put on things that you think that other people like contracts right now that are important.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you where the KGT contract is or where to even find it. I would have to go to Becky and Leah to even. Here's what I would say. Becky has it.
Becky doesn't know where it is because I asked her to print me a copy. So it's not Becky. I believe it's probably I don't know where Kim was putting her stuff, but my guess is it would be wherever Kim's stuff used to be.
See, the way it works right now is if I get the contract, I sign the contract and I keep the contract. I don't give it to anybody.
Yeah,
So if you ask for any contract right now that I have signed from Aqueduct to anything else, you are not going, nobody's going to be able to get it to you except for me.
okay.
So I don't know how Lynn did them. I don't know if Lynn, I mean, I guess here's the thing. I don't know that Lynn didn't sign everything and just make everybody else do it, but I scan in my own stuff. I email my own stuff. I do everything. So I really don't know how she did it compared to the way I do it. Like, I don't ask anybody to do any of my stuff. So I don't, like, Kim would have no reason other than to pay the bill eventually. That
Well,
would be
she
the only
was-
reason that she would have it. So, I mean, I guess, yeah, she would have eventually she would have had a copy because I did send Aqueduct. I sent the bill. I didn't send the contract to her because they sent it in two different things. So she had the statement, but that was it. She didn't have the actual contract from Aqueduct. And same thing with the public health. There was no money attached to that. It was just a contract. So again, Kim wouldn't have had it. Only I have that. So
Okay,
I guess it
well,
depends on what it is.
It'll just make it easier to
Mhm.
copy this stuff to the drive. The fewer
Oh, it
people
would.
have it. But then once it's there, anyway, it's a start.
Mhm.
Whoever you want to be in charge of contracts could then take those files and create the Excel spreadsheet or something or Word doc that shows when things are, because I know that Kim did something special, so she could see when contracts were up.
Right.
But sometimes contracts can get complicated like this one from Com Resource.
Right.
Where there's a subcontractor and there's two different effective dates, term dates, and that sort of thing. So anyway, okay.
Wish I had better answers for you.
If we ever, and the thing is if those phones, just know back to the phones, if the physical phones there ever went bad or whatever, you would never want to replace them, okay?
Oh, I
Because,
would never. Those things do everything but cook dinner.
but anyway, so what about the village update? How's that going?
The newsletter?
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
what it's called,
update.
isn't it?
Come on.
Village update.
No. I sent it. I told everybody to have their stuff in by Friday.
No, but I mean, I just, from communications point of view, is the Word doc, is she still doing a Word doc or is she doing a PowerPoint thing to do the newsletter?
She's doing whatever she's doing is very similar to what it looks very similar, I guess, to what it was being done before. I just give her my data and she does it. I have no idea.
Okay.
Wasn't there some discussion about combining the MPCA newsletter? Where are we at with that?
I talked to Jean earlier today and the COVID stuff started
Which
right
Gene? Are you
around
talking about Gene Hollins or Gene McCall?
McCall.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of sitting down and deciding who's going to do it because they have somebody that does theirs. I have somebody that does ours, how much it's going to cost, making sure the village isn't footing the money for MPCA or MPCA isn't footing the money for us. Just making sure that we dot our I's, cross our T's so we don't have residents upset that, we're spending money for them, vice versa. So just going through the logistics of it. But yeah, I mean, it's something that her and I are going to talk about. Yeah. And actually, again, I just talked to her today about it. So, but our building's kind of closed for everything and I'm not supposed to be going down to her house. So the only option is to do this. So that may be later this week or next week.
Well, all the numbers about deaths and cases and, are very encouraging.
Yes, they are.
This isn't going to last for much longer, I hope.
Trust me, I'm beyond hopeful. I want to get back to work. I can't stand this.
I am not nearly as optimistic as you are, but I don't
I have
think Yeah, if we don't have the things in control that we need in control before we can come out the other side, right? So people are still contagious for 14 days before they're symptomatic, right? We're at least a year away from a vaccine. We don't have effective therapies so that when people are sick, that we can shorten the time and the severity of the sickness, right? Without those three things, I do not see how we can reduce the measures that are being taken.
I think you're gonna see slowly getting back to work. I do not see large events. I really don't. I
Well,
see 4th of July being canceled. I see all that.
I don't see large events even when we have a vaccine, right?
It's gonna be a while.
I can't imagine anybody under any circumstances going down to the shoe and being shoulder to shoulder with their 100,000 closest strangers ever again. But maybe
Well,
that's
I don't know
me.
where you come up with that.
I know. I was thinking.
Maybe-
I would.
Maybe that's me, but y'all can go and die, and I'll just live in my house. But like
You're just not a sports. You're just not a sports fan.
I wouldn't go to a big concert. I wouldn't go. Like I'm not.
Good for you.
It's-
I don't think.
it's a long-
I think
it's-
that opinion is a minority.
Well,
I would. Yeah, I tell you, I would agree. I'm so ready to get out of my house at this point.
Oh, believe me, I want to get out of my house. I'm not saying that this is my favoriteest thing. I'm just saying that.
Realistically.
I hope
Realistically,
you're wrong. Let me just, that's what I'm saying.
So here, flip it around the other way. Would OSU take the liability of bringing 100,000 strangers onto campus and have them rub shoulder to shoulder?
That's
Exactly.
That's
That's gonna be
every
the catch.
individual's right to do what to incur whatever danger they want to incur.
That's an individual's right, but it's a university's responsibility. Are the schools going to take on the liability of inviting 1,000 kids into Heritage to sit 2 feet away from each
Well, so
other?
what you're saying, we're just going to stop commingling with our with the rest of the humanity. That's just,
Until we have an effective vaccine, I don't think we are. That's what I'm trying to get at.
well, you
and-
said
and-
forever.
Well, I think it's going to be a lot longer because one of the other problems is that this is a particular virus that mutates at a rate that I think it's going to be unlikely that we will have a super effective vaccine.
we just might as well all just put a
I'm
cap
going
in
to, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to assume we're done with communications.
Yeah.
it.